right. Like and subscribe. Let's go. We're going to talk some MLB. First, we're going to bring in one of the major co-hosts that's been here a long time. Actually, they all have, actually. They've all been part of the show for a while. We're going to bring in Jason first.
Adam, how you doing, my friend? It's good to be back on the show.
Yes, sir. You know who's going to be making a special return in a couple weeks? I talked to him yesterday, Jay. Good old buddy Logan.
Okay, bring him on, man. Bring him on.
I know. He was going to be here tonight, and then he's where is he? He's doing some kind of road trip.
So, okay.
Well, sure. He said I was just thinking about asking you when we're going to do a show, and I said that's funny. We're doing one tomorrow, and he's like, "Well, I'm on a road trip. Give me a couple weeks." Everything good? Everything good on the West Coast, Jay?
Everything's good on the West Coast right now. So far, so good. The weather's starting to turn nice and warm, nice and comfortable. But as an LA Dodger fan, it's starting to heat up, and I'm not talking about the product that's on the field either.
Gotcha. Next, we're going to bring on Joe.
Thanks for having me on. Great to be back.
How you doing, Joe? You golf today? What?
Friday. The first time since Florida would get a chance to get out there. So the weather here in Buffalo has been warmer than Florida a couple of days. It's been in the mid to upper 80s. So it's been a little crazy. I'm going to take advantage of that while I can.
Absolutely. Why not? Going anywhere good or just a regular course?
Just the regular course I usually go to. You know, since it's first time out up here.
School's almost done, huh?
School, we got about 3 weeks. And so we're hitting crunch time with that, but I'll be a happy camper in 3 weeks. Let's just put it that way.
All right. Next, we're going to bring on Mark.
Hey, Adam, how's it going?
Good. Yourself, buddy?
Good. It's good to be back with you. If you heard any loud noises, I was just telling the other guys backstage that there's a thunderstorm rolling through. So we got lightning, thunder, hail, the whole works.
So we might get a tornado. Is that what you're saying?
We're going to vote against that.
I hope not for your sake too. I know you're in the Midwest, and I know that's a normal thing, right? Unfortunately,
that's more of a central Nebraska thing, but we do get them out here in the Panhandle every once in a while. So you always got to be prepared.
Oh, look at that, Mark! You used the headline thing. I didn't know what that was.
Yeah, it said to give yourself a headline, and that was the best I could come up with.
I was wondering what that was, and now I know. All right. Next, we're going to bring on Jamie, who's become a familiar face around the network. What's up, buddy?
Thank you, Adam. How you doing? And just like Mark, I too use the headline, and I will tell you what that is later because I don't want to spoil it now. Anyway,
gotcha.
it's good to see you. Yeah, and just like Joe said, the weather up here in Webster, New York, which is suburban Rochester, has been very warm, and I want to go swimming pretty soon this weekend, and I can't believe it's almost June. That means the summer is about to fly once it hits June. So
definitely, the weather's heating. This is when the weather starts heating up. Bats start getting.
Go ahead.
Bats start getting off. I'm sure we're going to talk about that guy on your team, number 99, who on pace for over 70 home runs this year.
Aaron Judge, yeah. And the funny thing is he's got 15 right now, and he's leading.
He's got 18.
18, yeah, right now 18. He's leading the league, and he was hurt for 10 games too, and he's leading
Jorge
the AL.
Solar has 18 as well. Phoenix Marie. Right. Hey.
The official mascot of Driving to the Top Productions, by the way.
Yeah, there's a dog walking outside. She's going ballistic. I'm sure everyone heard it. She made her appearance. There we go. There's the dog's guest appearance tonight.
Wouldn't be a show without
by Driving to the Top. She is the logo cover. Jay, right off the bat, what did you think of the Trevor Williams situation?
Well, okay, so for those who have not heard yet, the Trevor Williams statement.
I'm on my page. Hold up. I'm going to call it up here real quick. I have it.
Yeah, no
so
problem.
People can see it. But go ahead, you can talk about it while it's up.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, this Trevor Williams statement was made in regards to a little snafu that the LA Dodgers organization got themselves into, where apparently they threw a toss out and an invite to a group called the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence as part of a Pride Night celebration. And again, apparently this group, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, are a group that dress up in drag and make fun of Catholic nuns and the Catholic faith and Christianity in general. Well, the Dodgers, again, gave them an invite to actually perform part of their show on the field. And a little bit thereafter, they retracted that statement or that invite. They pulled it, only to then subsequently go back and backtrack again and say, oops, we're going to go ahead and invite you after all. Well, this Trevor Williams statement is a result of that whole big kerfuffle that happened with the Dodgers there. And his statement reads, and I quote, "As a devout Catholic, I am deeply troubled by the Dodgers' decision to re-invite and honor the group, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, and their Pride Night this year. To invite and honor a group that makes a blatant and deeply offensive mockery of my religion and the religion of over 4 million people in Los Angeles County alone undermines the values of respect and inclusivity that should be upheld by any organization." He goes on to say, "The Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence are a human rights group of over 50 years that stand for the LGBTQ plus community. However, they've been criticized by Catholic supporters as the group is known for parodying Catholic nuns." Williams believes that the invitation of the sisters is a violation of the Dodgers' discrimination policy against attire that may have prejudice against a specific group. So, yeah, as you can tell, there's a lot of moving parts to this, a lot of things that went wrong on both ends.
Clayton Kershaw also felt the same way, as I believe, from what I saw.
Yeah, so Clayton Kershaw came out and issued a statement against the Dodgers, going back and not only inviting the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, but re-inviting them. And then within the last 24 hours, Blake Trinan, who is still a member of the Dodgers, but is currently on the injured list, no surprise there, came out and discredited the invite as well. Now, what's also interesting about this too is that after the Dodgers dropped the first invite, the LA Angels of Anaheim, of Orange County, of Riverside County, or whoever they're calling themselves nowadays, went out and picked up the ball after the Dodgers fumbled it and said, okay, we'll go ahead and invite them to our yard then if the Dodgers aren't going to do it. So that's kind of an extra added element there. So, but getting back to Trevor Williams' statement, I'm not going to say he's wrong in what he's saying here because he's actually right. I did some research on this group, and they are what they claim to be. They are a group that mocks the Catholic faith, that mocks Christianity and Catholicism in general. So what Williams said isn't necessarily wrong, but for him to come out and demand a boycott of the Los Angeles Dodgers organization and the rest of their games this year, that's a typical response from someone who believes very deeply in what he believes in. And it's obviously, Adam, it's a really sticky situation here. More than anything else, it's just a bad PR move for the Dodgers because whoever issued this invite should have done their homework in the Dodgers PR office. They should have researched this group a little more before offering the invite. And they should have realized that, hey, this is probably not the group that we want to have performing on our field, regardless of when it is.
I saw they do like a station as a cross thing, and the one person dressed as a nun will climb on the cross while the other one's hanging there.
Yep,
I saw exactly. I saw that picture somewhere, and I obviously I didn't save it because I thought it was weird.
As someone who works in PR, the biggest mistake that they made was the uninvite. Because if that hadn't have happened, I don't know that very many people would have even known that this was going on or who these people are. But when they did that, and then they did the re-invite, that's where everything came out in public, and that's where all the furor came from.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Looking here, Adam, just a little bit deeper down on this news article where I pulled the Williams statement from, apparently, according to sources, that the decision was believed to have been triggered by a letter that was sent by Florida Senator Marco Rubio to MLB saying that the group was anti-Catholic. And so there's your little bit of a political connection to this, and why this is causing the big furor that it's causing. One of the reasons why is because obviously everyone thinks this is just another example of political grandizing here, or grandstanding, I'm sorry. And, sports fans in general are sick and tired of professional sports kowtowing to the political elite, which is what they feel the Dodgers have done here. And it's right now, it's just one giant big mess that is going to sting for a while, and it's going to hurt the Dodgers' reputation. But eventually the dust will subside. But when it does, it's still going to hurt for a little while. It's still going to hurt for a while.
Have any other Dodgers came out and said anything about it, Jay?
Only Treinen and Kershaw by name. I read something today on USA Today where several other players in the Dodgers clubhouse anonymously spoke up against the Dodgers' decision to invite this group initially. And also, Adam, there was apparently a statement that was given to the Major League Baseball Players Association, whose head is Tony Clark, the former Detroit Tiger and Arizona Diamondback, who now heads the PA. And apparently several other players around Major League Baseball have let it be known that they do not want anything to do with either this group or anything related to LGBTQ plus or transgender rights. And they also told Tony Clark in an anonymous letter that they are going to refuse to wear any uniform that has any type of rainbow patch, any type of LGBTQ plus patch on their sleeves, anything like that. Anything that they feel is going to be a political message in this direction, they are not going to endorse, nor will they condone. So this has obviously become a small brush fire that's now grown into a full-blown wildfire. And out here in California, where I've lived all my life, let me tell you, wildfires aren't good, my friends.
I think it stinks. Like Mark, you said it's raining right now. So if it's raining over like Kansas, over Coffin Field, and a rainbow appears, everyone's be like, "Look, God's saying a rainbow," and all this other stuff. People are going to say it because that's the way people are nowadays. Anything looking
right.
to razzle
it's all
up the
going to
crowd,
be a meme. Weren't
I
there a
didn't
couple
mean
of
to
Blue
throw out
Jays last year
Coffin
that
Field,
didn't want to
but I
wear
was looking
the?
at Mark whenever I was getting into that. So,
Weren't there a couple of?
But
Blue
you know
Jays
what
last
I'm
year that
saying,
didn't want to wear
like-
this stuff?
I know other
Mark?
sports. I don't know about baseball, but I know there's other sports, hockey players, that because of religious convictions did not want to do that. And that's where I have a problem with it is involving, the organizations that do stuff like this. Now, I'm not here to say what's right, what's wrong. I'm a devout Christian, so I have my side of the story. But, the teams have to be very careful because no matter what, you're going to offend somebody. You're going to piss somebody off.
Yes.
And, that's the risk you take with something like this. But I guess the one thing that I strongly disagree with is forcing players to get into this because, like you said, there's some because of religious convictions that I could certainly understand that others certainly can. You're putting them on the spot to either follow something that they don't believe in or make themselves look bad, and then they get the political riffraff and criticism that well they don't stand for this. What's wrong with them? And it just so that's why I strongly disagree with getting players involved and having them wear the symbols, things like that. If you want to have events like this, that's the team's decision. But I strongly disagree with putting players on the spot and and bringing them involved in this whole thing.
I agree totally on that, Joe. It's I'm a devout Christian myself, but I've got a lesbian daughter. I know how these things work, but I'm not going to force my beliefs on any of you guys. You've got your beliefs. If somebody works for me, I'm not going to force them to believe the same things that I do. And you just can't do that in any other corporation. So why should a sports team to be able to do that?
It like you said, Jason, you gotta, and what the most important thing is, like what they're doing, like these groups and everything that they're kowtowing to. It's a very small, like minority of people. But the problem is they're always yapping about everything. So they're always like they're very vocal about everything. So like everybody thinks that they're like a majority of the population, but they're 1% of the population that like they're trying to
I don't even
count.
know if they're one. Or I don't even know if are they 1%? That's it.
They're like barely 1% of the population, but they're always like talking. That's what it is. But they're they're a small portion of society, and like, but guess what happened in the NHL, Joe? It got to the point where Gary Bettman said they're not going to do pride events anymore. That's why.
Right. It just causes too much controversy on both sides.
And like I said, they're a small group of people, but they're always telling everybody what to do. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, as a Dodgers fan, I wrote a lot of stuff, especially on social media, about how the Dodgers are being demonized for this decision. And what a lot of people don't realize about the Dodgers organization is they've done a fantastic job throughout their franchise's history at recognizing a lot of the great cultures and socioeconomic groups that make this country so great and what it is. But this group that they offered the invite to, they're not like a gay rights activist group. They're not pro LGBTQ necessarily. They're not like the NAACP. They are a group that does spread misinformation and does poke fun at another specific group of people, those people being Catholics. And again, that's why I said when I first started here that whoever thought up this invite in the Dodgers promotions department should have done their homework, because if this would not be an issue at all, if the Dodgers had members of the local LA chapter of the Anti-Gay Defamation League down there that they were going to recognize. That's a group of people that stand up for certain civil rights. This group, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, or whatever the heck they call themselves, they're not they're not an activist group. They're not pro anything. If anything, they make fun of other people. And that's also what got Clayton Kershaw in such a tizzy. And Clayton is absolutely right. And I stand behind his statement, because Clayton said, look, I don't agree with anyone who makes fun of anybody else's beliefs or background or gender or anything else. And what ticks me off now is that Clayton Kershaw is getting his name smeared all over social media. Everyone is demonizing him. They're lambasting him, and they're saying he should go to hell for what he believes in. Clayton is right. Blake Trinan's statement was right too. And again, what Trevor Williams came out and said isn't necessarily wrong. I think the way he went about doing it was wrong in some degree of shape or form. But again, the Dodgers should have done their homework on this one. And it makes me wonder, though, too, because this group has never been recognized by any other sports team, at least that I know of. So how did they even find out about these bozos in the first place? Did this group actually call the Dodgers and say, hey, we want our fair share of the pie, recognize us, or we're going to come out and slander you guys in the media? Makes me wonder how they even heard about them in the first place.
Mm-hmm. To me, they kind of seem like a Saturday Night Live skit. Only they're always they're doing the same skit against the same people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly.
Take a look, the National Institute of Health says that trans are about 1 in every 250 adults. So less than half of 1%.
Jenny's not here to defend herself, and I don't know why, but she totally disagrees with what we're saying. Jenny. We're not really. We're just saying like our opinions. We're not really,
Yeah, and just because somebody else disagrees with me, that doesn't mean I'm going to take back anything of what I said. So, I mean, that's her opinion. We all have our opinions. We're going to stick to our guns.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
And Jenny, thank you for your opinion. It's valued, but I'm sorry you disagree with us. But I'm not going to take back anything of what I said.
And thank you for commenting and giving us a view too. And I'm not going to take back what I said either.
She says hi.
Hi, Jenny.
Hey, Jenny.
Can't wait to see you at the San Francisco show, Jenny. Anyway, rules changes. Does anyone have anything more on this little topic here? I just wanted to discuss it real quick. I wanted to get it out of the way.
I'm gonna give a little phrase that sums up this whole thing. A little quote that I learned from my family. Empty barrels make the most noise. That's all I got to say.
And with the reference
That's a
that
good
I
one.
gave you guys earlier, I fully support LGBTQ rights. I do not support these people's right to go out and make fun of another religion or another
Agreed.
set of people. You know, that's
Agreed.
cultural
agree.
appropriation.
Yeah, 110%. I agree with you, Mark.
Mhm.
So now we can
All
talk
right.
rules changes.
Right. So let's start.
Yep.
If it ever shows. There it is. All right. So in 2022, games were 3 hours and 3 minutes. I did this last night, so apparently I missed some freaking numbers. Anyway, as you see, I messed up right there with the 2023. So in March, games were at 2 hours and 42 minutes. April, 2 hours and 36 minutes. In May, right now, we're at 2:37. So games are getting shorter. We've seen Milwaukee. I don't know if anyone else did extend beer sales into the 8th inning now. Has any other teams done that?
A few other teams have done it. Yeah, I think the Giants did it out here in San Francisco. The Dodgers haven't done it yet, but I stress the word yet. I'm sure they're making their way to doing it.
I thought it was an interesting point. I can't remember who the pitcher was, but I think it was for the Phillies. But he said that they actually should be cutting back to like the 6th inning to cut off sales because the end of the game is going to come more quickly than it used to.
Right.
So rather than extending it to the 8th inning to give people more time to buy, he's talking cut it back to the 6th inning to give people more time to sober up before they're leaving. And that made sense to me.
That makes total
Yeah.
sense.
But it don't
Complete
make
sense.
sense to the people making money.
That's true.
Right.
Heard.
That's
Because
cost of
now
doing
games,
business, man.
you know, I understand we're getting these super high scoring games and they're still finishing under 3 hours, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But, you know, before we used to go in the 7th inning, we'd be at like the 2 hour and 45 minute mark. We still have almost a half hour, 45 minutes left of the games.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So people had time. Now, all of a sudden, you know, the vendors are starting to lose money because the games are going almost a half hour, 45 minutes quicker. That's just, I guess it's something that's going to happen. I mean, it's going to be an adjustment. I feel like this is like it's going to hurt sales a little bit too, because no one's going to want to get up from their seats because the game happens pretty fast.
You know, I guess I don't know why people are so surprised. You know, because again, I've mentioned this before here, I believe, you know, as well. If you go back even 20 years, 25 years, this was the normal thing, right? You watch old baseball games, and what happens? The guy throws it back to the pitcher, and he throws another pitch. Pitcher gets the ball back, throws another pitch. I mean, this is how baseball was up until, I don't know, what, 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, that all of a sudden games started taking forever. But this, I mean, for the history of baseball, I mean, this has been the norm. You know, and somebody said backstage, this is one of the best things that's happened to baseball, and I could not
That
agree
was
more.
me. Thank you very much, Joe.
Yes. And I could not agree with that more. It's just so much more pleasant to watch a game these days. Now, again, it's going to, you know, salespeople and the money people are going to have to make some adjustments. But people that have been around the game for a long time, you know, again, how long has baseball been, you know, 150 years old, whatever. It's been 20 years that games have been taken so long. All the rest of history of baseball, this was the norm.
I can give you an indication of how that happened. That 100 years ago, there was no TV broadcast. So, you know, you finish an inning, you turn around, you go back out, and you're ready to go again. Now you've got a 3-minute commercial break between innings or between half innings.
Yep.
And even, you know, you talk 25 years ago, it was 2 minutes at the most. And a lot of times 1.5 minutes if it was just a local broadcast, but 2 minutes if it was a national broadcast. And so that, you know, you got 18 half innings, there's 18 minutes right there.
Right. Okay.
So that's part of it.
So if we do stick at 3 minutes, that's what, 64, that's almost an hour of commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you want to break it down that far.
You know, Adam, the Dodgers have the Dodgers have a concession app that fans can download that actually enables them to order their concessions, not only just beer, but hot dogs, peanuts, whatever, before they actually step foot into Dodger Stadium. And so I think, you know, they're starting to wise up there a little bit where actually they can do alcohol sales before the game even starts. And so I think a lot of teams are going to start maybe doing that as well if they haven't already, where they're going to allow their fans to download some kind of an app and purchase their beer and their concessions before the game even starts. And then all they have to do is walk in, get in line to pick up their concessions, and they're ready to go. So I think that's one way. They're
pretty smart.
Yeah, that's how the Dodgers are. That's how the Dodgers at least are adjusting to the drop off there in alcohol sales, is by letting fans order their concessions before they walk in. So they're adapting and they're going with the change as well.
Have you been to a game since this happened yet, Jay?
No, not yet. My family and I are talking about going down and maybe during Father's Day weekend, but I'm not sure. We wanted to go down and watch your Yankees, watch us beat up on your Yankees there, Jamie, but that was out of the picture. So we may go down in a couple weeks and see them.
I don't think Jamie likes hearing them beat up on the Yankees.
I don't care. I don't like the Yankees. I'm still going to say that. Although, Jamie, I will say I'm a huge Aaron Judge fan only because I covered him at Fresno State, where we both went to college, and I love Aaron Judge. Great kid, great player. I'll root for 99, but I won't root for the Pinstripes as a whole. Sorry about that, buddy.
That's fine. You got to root for 99. A lot of people root for a lot.
That's right.
As long as you root for 99, you're in good shape. You are golden.
Well, I know another person that wore 99, and he was pretty good too. Played hockey though.
Mm-hmm.
Wayne Gretzky, yeah.
Adam, didn't Mario Lemieux wear 99 also?
No, 66.
66. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Turn that upside down, right?
Yeah, right. No kidding.
That's wishful thinking, Adam, but funny.
You know, if he wouldn't have come down with Hodgkins, he would be pretty close to tying these records.
Yeah. You know, Adam, talking more about the rule changes, one thing I've really enjoyed watching about the game and its changes this year is the stolen base ratio has gone up exponentially. You know, I'm for. Yeah. I mean, I don't know the exact number on how. Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
Just look at Yankees rookie Anthony Volpe, their prospect.
So in March, it was at 86%.
Of that big time.
Yep.
In April, it was at 79%. In May, we're back up to 80, in May we're back up to 80, and then 2023 overall together we're at 79.6. It is higher, Jay. You're absolutely right. It is higher by almost 4 points.
Yeah, in fact,
that success rate.
That's what the bigger base is, though. Too. You forgot to mention, Jason.
Yeah. And what I'm getting at is that, you know, I grew up watching a lot of baseball as a kid in the 80s, watching the Cardinals and Whitey's Rug Burners teams, you know, do wind sprints on everybody. And I'm a big fan of stolen bases. I love teams that are able to manufacture runs by means other than the home runs. And I love seeing teams be aggressive on the base paths, even if it's against the Dodgers, because that's how baseball was supposed to be played. All right. These guys
she agreed with us on this one.
Get it, Jenny.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Jenny. I agree with you too. Yes. More stolen bases. So, Adam, base stealers in 2023 have been successful almost 80% of the time, 78.8% to be precise. That's on target to be the highest stolen base success rate in the history of MLB. That is insane.
I'm not sure what stats you're looking at, Jay, but I got 79.6 so far up to date.
Okay, I was looking at CBS Sports. Sorry about that.
I'm looking at 2000 Baseball Reference.
Okay, well, Baseball Reference is the end-all be-all, so I will defer to that rather than CBS Sports. But what I'm trying to get at is part of these rule changes was to put more life and more action into the game. And when you see players be more aggressive on the base paths and they're stealing second and they're stealing third and they're turning singles into triples, I love it. I think that's a part of the game that's gone missing because of analytics, and I'm glad to see it come back. It's really exciting.
I saw this thing last night in a game called a hit and run. Anybody ever hear of that?
What? A hit and run? What's that?
Right? good to see stuff like that
You know,
again
that
too.
used to be the funnest playing baseball.
Yeah.
Right.
Or the
Exactly.
Little League home run.
Yeah.
Jason, I grew up watching the Royals and, Willie Wilson, Amos Otis, Frank White, UL Washington. All of those guys would have 20 or 30 stolen bases a season each. And now there's maybe, the last few years, there have been teams that didn't get as many stolen bases as those guys did.
Yeah,
and it was,
exactly.
I commented on, there's a guy that used to pitch for the Royals, and he mentioned Willie Wilson. And I said, there was nothing, everybody that says that the triple is the most exciting play in baseball has never seen Willie Wilson hit one in the gap and head for an inside the park home run. And I know Jason and Joe, you guys probably both remember him for sure. Adam, you might.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Willie Wilson was a great base runner. Yeah.
You could see it in his eyes when he rounded first base.
I remember Mookie Wilson.
Shot, and the stadium would
Mookie Wilson.
It was intense. No, not Mookie.
No, yeah, Willie.
Although Mookie's given name was Willie.
Yeah, that's right. It was. And I think the Oakland Athletics have this rookie as well by the name of Asturi Ruiz, who's already stolen like close to 50 or 60 bases. And we're just a third of the way through the season. So that's crazy, man. That's insane.
Oh, he's got a guy to catch in Oakland,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last year in Oakland too, they're going to be Vegas.
Yeah, I saw that. Vegas started
year.
building the stadium already.
Yeah.
They still got a few years in Oakland until they can get the stadium built. But yeah, it's almost all said and done.
Thank God they're going to be Vegas.
Jason, she agrees with you again.
Yay. Thank you, Jenny. Although I value your opinions, even if they are different from mine. Thank you, Jenny.
And this is weird seeing a Giants fan and a Dodgers fan agree.
Wow.
I know. I think Jenny and I were on your show previously, and we got along together like pancakes and syrup. So I know who Jenny is.
Jenny is supposed to be having a show starting mid-July, so we'll see what happens.
All right. Awesome.
Giants show. So I'm excited.
Ruiz has 27 steals right now.
27 steals. Okay, so I was way off on the number I thought he had already. Thanks for correcting me, Mark.
Jumping the gun. I love it.
That's okay. He's still on pace for, what did that give him? 70 or so, probably.
80? Yeah.
70. Who's going to get it? Solar or Judge? They both have 18 right now. No one even mentioned Solar, though. That's funny.
I don't know. Some other guy in New York's got 20 right now.
Pete Alonso, we got it.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 20 already?
Yeah.
Yep. I don't have him on my team. Jay, will you agree to this statement or not?
100% Giants and Dodgers fans do get along. I actually agree with that because my wife's entire side of the family is all Giants fans, and I get along fairly well with them. So I would agree with Jenny on that statement 110%.
Oh, you heard it here
all
first.
The way. Heard it here first. That's right. Stop the presses, Mark. You heard it here first.
It's actually really interesting with some of the rivalries. It depends on the rivalry. I'm from Nebraska. You guys know that.
Yeah.
We have a rivalry with Oklahoma. We always did. And that's a true rivalry. And we do not hate Oklahoma. We don't want to lose to Oklahoma. But you look at Colorado, and that's a completely different rivalry. Colorado and Nebraska people do not get along.
It'll be interesting this year with Matt Rule versus Deion Sanders.
Yeah, Deion has basically replaced his whole team, so I don't know how much that's going to help him. But one of the Denver TV stations was at the Boulder as we were walking by, and I just threw out a Go Big Red just because I felt like I had to.
I love it.
But the intensity of the rivalry is that they can be very different. So I can see that with the Giants and the Dodgers.
So the pitch clock. What do you guys think? Are we still doing all right with it? There's some awkward box being called, right, Jamie?
Wait, what?
There's some awkward box being called on your team, right?
What do you mean with the
pitch
you didn't
clock? See it? I don't know who was pitching, but he I guess he like double pumped his leg and he stepped off, and then Aaron Boone got tossed.
Nestor Cortez when he when he kicks the leg up, right?
Nasty
Aaron-
Nestor.
Like, yeah.
I love when Aaron Boone goes on and argues. He's good for getting. He's good. Like he's a quiet guy. You wouldn't think he wouldn't say anything, but don't piss him off because he'll go out there and he's good for getting thrown out for at least one game and arguing with the ref. So, or once a week, whatever. But yeah, it's great when he does get thrown out. It's funny. Because you don't think
Mark, is it fun watching Zach Greinke wake back up? He's doing better this year.
Sometimes he stays asleep.
Because
He'll have a really good start, and then he'll have a where you wonder what happened to him start. But
is that all his fastball is anymore? Is 88?
Yeah.
And his changeup's 88?
His changeup's probably he's usually in the 70s with that.
I
But
thought
he'll throw a curveball up there at 60.
I read something today. It said his changeup was at 88, and I'm like, that's what you guys just said his fastball was at. How is that humanly possible?
It's Greinke. He does his own thing. I was
he's
just looking.
barely
This is how bad the
barely
Royals are.
pitching softball pitches.
Yeah. Greinke's got a 1.2 WAR. That's the best on the Royals. That's not a good thing at all.
It's not good. Out of curiosity, Mark, who's the next best WAR leader on that team?
Salvador Perez 1.1.
Nice.
Nicky Lopez is at 0.8.
Oof.
Bobby Witt is 8th at 0.6.
Ooh.
Wow.
So yeah, it hasn't been a pretty season at all.
I wouldn't say it has been a great season because it hasn't.
You know,
We rearranged.
Adam, it feels like everyone's pretty much gotten adjusted to the pitch clock by and large, because I'm not seeing as many pitch clock violations either on the batters or the pitchers that we first saw, like in the first 2 or 3 weeks of the regular season. But we're still seeing. In fact, if anything, I'm seeing more batters get flagged for pitch clock violations than pitchers right now. So I think the hitters are still having an adjustment period there where they have to be just as cognizant of getting back in that box within that time that's allotted on the clock as the pitchers have to get the ball, get set, wind up and deliver, and then throw the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Plus the 30-second clock between batters. I think that's made a change as well.
Yeah, although I will say nothing makes me happier when I see Manny Machado get dinged up for a pitch clock violation, and then he tosses his bat in the air and cries like that little baby that he is. So keep it up, Manny. Stay Machado, Manny. Stay Machado.
Nothing makes
Brutal,
me
Jason.
happier than watching Alex Cora go out and argue, but
Yeah,
Dude,
I love the pitch.
Lloyd McClendon was the best.
Lloyd McClendon.
I mean, everyone
love
remembers
base.
him for stealing first base, obviously.
Yeah. I used
Joe,
to
what are
listen
you
to
gonna say?
Clint Hurdle for your Pirates.
Yeah, I still love the pitch clock. There's some tweaks that are going to have to be figured out. Like those fake problems with the PitchCom thing. That causes a guy to go out and things like that. Or if there's a close play or there has to be a little delay between batters. They're not giving them that at this point. But I mean, I think it's working better than people could have thought, and it's done wonders for the game. And I think it's just only going to make things better.
mm-hmm.
I agree.
I know we talked about the shift. Mark, this is your first time being on the show in a while. So I don't think we got any of your rule changes in the beginning, how you felt, right?
I think you and I might have talked about it, but not a whole
Not on
lot
the show.
right
I think
before
we
the
talked
season.
off.
Yeah.
I think we just texted
Yeah.
about it, though.
Yeah, I think you're right. The shift to
The
me,
shift.
I'm happy with the way that the rules are. They're, the teams that have tried to figure it out by moving an outfielder around, that's kind of stuff's going to happen. But I'm happy for, as a Royals fan, I used to watch Eric Hosmer all the time. and he would hammer a ball into the dirt straight into the shift, just like clockwork every time that you expected him to. And I know that it didn't help him this year, but he's still hammering the balls into the dirt. But when he was with the Cubs, but it to me, it's been a lot better for the left-handed hitters that they can actually get a ball through once in a while. And my thing was when you move 3 guys over to the left side of the infield, try to go the other way. And there are so many of them that were just so committed to trying to pull the ball that they, just like Hosmer, they would hammer it into the dirt right at where the fielders were at. And it just got frustrating. And so I'm sure it was for them as well.
Well, things are starting to settle down now. In March, it was at 322. The hitters were hitting the ball all over the place. And then in April, it went to 297, May 296. So the overall average with the shift now is at 297. So everyone's basically 3 for 10. But in 2022, with the shift, everyone was hitting about 290. So there's a couple more hits, but it seems like we're seeing a lot more high-scoring games.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Now, does that have something to do with the pitch clock? Does that have something to do with pitchers not fully getting set? Because very seldom do you see a shutout.
It also, Adam, I also think it has to do with the stolen base increase as well. Because when you have guys that are stealing bases and you're going from station to station, you're seeing a lot more players now that are hitting the ball with contact, and they're doing better situational hitting. So as long as that stolen base ratio continues to stay up, it's going to put more pressure on the defense and the pitcher to execute down to a T to prevent more runs. So I think it's a combination of everything, what you just said, in addition with the increase in stolen bases that we're seeing a lot more high-scoring games.
Yeah, I would agree. You get more runners in scoring position, you're going to get more runs scored.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, last night when I was watching the Dodgers play the Nationals, they had a situation where they had runners on first and second with they had runners at first and second in the 6th inning with 1 out, and they had Will Smith, I think it was, advanced to third on a sacrifice by Miguel Vargas, and then Miguel Rojas came up and drove home Smith from third on a short little blooper that was caught for an out in right field, but it was a perfect sacrifice because it was just deep enough to get the runner home from third. So right there is a good example of when guys get on base and they make things happen. You don't need to hit that ball out of the yard. Just do great situational hitting, and the rest will take care of itself.
Joe, I know it's at almost 10 o'clock. So what's going on with the Mets?
Well, a little.
I know they're about to sweep the Phillies if they win tomorrow.
Yeah, a little change in direction. It's in the beginning of the season. I'll be honest, I didn't enjoy watching them. It's like I went through a hockey season. I'm an Islanders fan. And it's like my complaint is I'm a fan of the most boring team in the NHL. It's just they're a good team, but not fun to watch. And you know what? The Mets were going in the same direction. It's just, you know what? I just don't enjoy watching this team. And then all of a sudden, there was an infusion of some youth. The catcher, Alvarez, Beatty, the third baseman, Vientos, another prospect coming up. And all of a sudden
Are you talking about Gilmore? Is he on his way up soon?
I think there's somebody else coming up soon that's not that hasn't made it up yet. But just those 3 guys, and all of a sudden, there's a lot of enthusiasm on this team. With those young guys, and they're producing. Alvarez has 8 home runs already. And we're getting another mascot visitor here. But he's got 8 home runs already, and he's just got an enthusiasm that's very contagious. And this team has gone from one of the most boring teams in the league to one of the most fun teams to watch. I mean, they're making big comebacks now. There was a few games where there was a 5-game winning streak, and I think 4 out of the 5 they were down by several runs and came back to win. So they still have some progress to make here, and the starting pitching is definitely a concern. But this team's fun to watch, and I think at this point of the season, I think they're certainly going to go forward, and things are going to be exciting, for the next few months here. So I'm very happy with what I'm seeing in the last, I don't know, 3 weeks or so. And again, I think, Francisco Alvarez, he's been a prospect for them for a couple of years, and people have been talking about him. And they were still,
Jenny
even when he
agrees
first
with you.
came up. Yeah, I see that. He's a fun player to watch. Not only for Mets fans, but for fans around the league. That once they get a chance to see him, I think they'll enjoy watching him as well. And they say the great thing about him is everywhere he's gone, he started slowly, but he has such a desire and capacity to learn and improve that's what's kind of taken him to these higher levels, and that's exactly what happened since he got to the Mets. He got off to a very slow start to the point where there was even talk about the Mets sending him back down. But again, he's like a sponge. He had just such a desire and capacity to learn, and he's playing like one of the best catchers in the league at this point. So, and that's, like I said, with Beatty, who played with the team a little bit last year until he got hurt. He's been a spark plug as well. And the weird thing about these guys, if you look at some of the Mets stats, they're not that impressive. But different guys do different things. Even a guy like Sterling Marte, who, you look at, he got like a 230 batting average, give or take, but he's got 15 stolen bases, and he does other things. Francisco Lindor, again, the batting average is low and the strikeouts are up, and maybe he's not producing as Met fans thought he would, but yet you look at his RBIs, he's got like 40 RBIs. So he does come through in the clutch and 2-out hitting and things like that. So, even Pete Alonso, batting average isn't there, but if you look at he leads the league in home runs with 20, and you look at the OPS, and, it's upper 800.
It's got to be close on RBIs too, Joe. He's got 46, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I think 46, 47 RBIs. So he's right. I think he was third or fourth in RBIs.
I don't know if the stats have been updated for today or not.
Right. I checked them a couple of days ago. But, different guys do different things, and Brandon Nimmo, he can hit for average. He could steal a base when you need him to. He can rob a home run in the field, so he stole a home run. Yesterday, one of the funniest things I've seen in a while. He robbed, what's his name, Castellanos of the Phillies of a home run, jumped over the wall. And then later in the game, when the Mets were trying to get some insurance runs, Nimmo hits a ball that Castellanos makes a diving catch to rob him. So it was like touche. But, bottom line is this team has different guys that do different things, and that's what a team's all about. So, and they seem to be having fun, and, they used to have some guy named Diaz closing games, but now you got this guy, David Robertson, who's about 50 years old, but, and I'm exaggerating, of course, but he's saving games consistently, just like the other guy. So a lot of things going right for them these days, and I think it's going to continue to go.
David Robertson was going to be good closer, regardless if he was in the 8th or the 9th. He was always solid.
Right.
Even when he pitched for the other team across the street.
Right, exactly. And I always respected him for that, and he was always a great 8th inning pitcher. And I didn't realize he was the closer for the Yankees for a while. They were talking about that last night. I never knew that. He had a couple of seasons where he had a lot of saves, and I wasn't aware of that. But, he just all around. Again, pitching is a little suspect. Middle relief is questionable. Starting
How
pitching.
impressive has Senga been?
Well, it depends on where he's pitching. If he's pitching at Citi Field, he's unhittable. If he's not, he's very normal, and his stats are not impressive. So big difference in the splits as to whether he's home or away. But he pitched his best game last night. He pitched a one-hitter, basically. I think he pitched 7 innings and one hit the Phillies, and was just, you could see the confidence growing as he was out there. So, if he could pitch a little more consistently on the road, that would certainly help. But he's been probably their most
all
valuable.
strikeouts come at home? got
That
70.
I haven't checked. Yeah, as far as the difference in that, I believe he would have more at home. But I mean, as far as ERA, as far as effectiveness, I mean, there's a big difference as far as home and away. But the one positive as far as the older guys is the fact that they haven't pitched as much in the beginning. And I was just looking at Scherzer's stats earlier before coming on the show, and they're not maybe as Scherzer-like as before, but they're not that horrible either. I mean, his ERA is something a little over 3, but I think it's going to come in handy later on that he was he was injured a little bit, and then he was suspended for those 10 games. Same with Verlander being hurt the first month of the season, and he's not pitching well now. But I think they'll get it together, and the fact that they didn't pitch so much now might help come September and potentially October. So even that, I think there's a little bit more reason for optimism as well.
I just brought up Senga splits.
Mm-hmm.
He is 3-1 with a 1.2 ERA at home, 2-2, 6.12 on the road.
Right.
That's 5 starts at home, 5 on the road. 38 strikeouts in 30 innings at home, 32 strikeouts in 25 innings on the road.
Okay, so not too
The
much.
strikeouts are still there.
Yeah, but
that ERA, that's a huge difference there.
Yes.
Any questions for the Mets guy?
Actually, not a question, but I was just going to say to Joe, I was watching Francisco play the other night, and it got me thinking. He reminds me a lot of Sandy Alomar, the former great Cleveland Indians catcher, but with a lot more power than Sandy Alomar.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Alomar was great behind the plate. I'm not really comfortable with how well Francisco is behind the plate as a pitch caller and a framer, but when I see him in his frame and just the way he swings the bat, again, it reminds me a lot of Sandy Alomar. So I think that's an apt comparison. Would you agree?
I would. It's funny. I never thought of that, but as you're saying it, I certainly do agree. And I think he might have some upsides, like you said, as far as the power.
Yeah.
I think he's got the respect of the pitchers. I've seen the way the pitchers, talk to him, and they seem to have confidence in him. You talk about the framing pitches. He framed a couple of them, last night's game pretty well. So, even watching Senga with him yesterday, just they seem to have a confidence, and even Robertson. I was watching, you get the rookie with this 38-year-old pitcher who's been around and done great things. And Robertson seemed to have a great respect for him. So just the way I see the pitchers working with him, that tells me that they have his confidence. But never thought of it. Excuse me. But I do like that comparison. I think that's a very good and fair comparison.
Jenny, if you're still watching, he kind of reminds me of Benji Molina as well. You'll know who Benji Molina is.
Jenny says the Mets should play Alvarez every day.
Yeah, slowly but surely. I'd love to see him every day, and he could always DH as well. Some games
one of 3 great Molina brothers. It was Benji Molina, Jose, and Yadier Molina. Yep.
Yeah, all 3 were great catchers.
Mm-hmm.
Benji was the
good
Yankee
thing we don't have
killer,
Logan on the show.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, let's talk Yadier with him.
Benji was the Yankee killer, though. Benji Molina. He used to kill the Yankees all the time in the ALDS, but yeah.
Joe, I was just looking at your pitching staff, and they're old, man.
They are, and that's what happened to
Scherzer's.
Scherzer last year is he pitched great until we got to mid-August, and then he just lost his effectiveness. The last couple of months of the season, and that's a concern, and Verlander as well. But again,
Verlander's
the fact
40,
that
Carrasco's 36.
Yeah,
Robertson's
and
38.
Carrasco's had a
Ottavino's 37.
Yeah, I didn't realize Ottavino was that old, but Carrasco's had a couple of nice games lately. So that's
another
optimistic.
guy who
liked
pitched
your
across the street too, Joe.
Which one?
Adam Ottavino, another
Ottavino.
ex-Yankee.
Yeah. So
I remember him with the Rockies.
Jay, here's one. Jenny, you shut off your screen, so I don't want to put it up there yet. But here's what Jenny said about Benji.
Yeah. Hold on.
It's okay,
what?
Jenny. He was. I
What?
don't
She doesn't
blame
like
you, Jenny.
Benji?
He was a Yankee killer, Benji Molina.
That's
I
okay,
guess
Jenny.
not.
You don't have to like Benji Molina, so that's all right.
Oh. Mark, what's going on up there in Kansas City lately?
Disasters.
That's
I've got a stat for you guys. I got to bring it up here. In Major League history, there have been 48 players who have had 4+ hits, 2+ home runs, 5+ RBI, and a stolen base in the same game. Do you guys have any idea what the record is of those teams in those games?
47 and 80. I just guessed.
No,
Yeah,
there's
no
been
idea.
48 games where that's happened for
okay.
one player.
Okay,
Those
48.
teams they're 47-1. That one loss was just the other day. The Royals lost 12-10, even though Bobby Witt did all that stuff in one game.
Wow.
And you know, as
Your
much
team's,
as he
your,
is,
your
he
team's
struggled
old. You
this
know what
year.
you got to do.
No, we're not old. We're young.
Mhm.
But
The
that's
only old guy that we've got is Jackie Bradley Jr.
no, but
The
that's
rest
good.
of-
You got a young team because I have a
Yeah.
theory. I have a theory about the new rule changes and all the pitch clock and the rules and everything and the speed. I think it's going to actually lead to.
Thanks, Jim.
I think it's going to lead to in August. You're going to see a lot of minor league call ups to all these major league teams because it's kind of leading towards like a young man's like speedy games. Because look at the Pirates when they were the worst team in. No offense, Anna, but you know this is kind of true if you look at this, if you kind of analyze it. 2 years ago, they were, or 2021 and 2022, they were the worst team in the league, but because they were playing with all rookies and stuff. And now look at this year with the new rules and everything. They got one of the best records in the league is because they got a bunch of young guys who've adapted to the new rules.
We're only one game above 500. We're not that good anymore.
They started
Right,
off
but I
really
think-
good though.
Right, but
Yeah,
I
he
think
did.
now that because they have all those young guys, they've adapted to the new rules. But 2
I
years
can't wait to get
ago,
O'Neal Cruz back.
Hmm.
right? But 2 years
is-
ago, they were building for that, and they were one of the worst teams in the league. But they had all those young guys ready
Look,
to
we've been
go,
building
and they
for years,
built up
buddy.
to this moment.
Now we brought in Andrew McCutcheon, who's 36.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, he's playing like youth because he's back home, but eventually it fizzles.
It's not the future.
No.
And that's the same thing the Royals did with Greinke.
I
He's
just
got a
I think the
4.19
new
ERA,
rules
but
is
he's
going to
1
make
and
it a
5.
young man's game now, though. That's like it's working for the Mets, Joe. That's why they got youth now because I think the new rules is making it a young man's game now.
Right. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why like the Yankees now are not as old anymore, even with Judge. Like that's why they're mixing in younger guys like Andrew Volpe and
Yeah,
some
I
of their
was
other
about to get
prospects.
to that, Jamie. What are they going to do? Your Yankees had 18 hits last night, and then Stanton and Donaldson both in the minor leagues went, I think, 1 for 9 altogether.
They're coming back. I'm excited.
You think
For
they're
them
going to
to
play,
come.
even though this team's on fire without them there?
I want them to come back. I mean, they're healthy enough, but like I said, they're young prospects. They got a really good like Volpe and their bullpen's young too. Like a lot of their bullpen is like all
Yeah,
guys.
but it
that got
doesn't sound
called
like
up
they're in
from
a rush to get them back up here right now with the way this team's hitting.
I know they're not in a rush. That's why I think they're waiting for the Dodgers to get Stanton.
Well,
back.
Donaldson is
That's why.
flying out to LA, Jay, so pay attention. He's flying out there early.
Yeah, they're waiting for that series. That's why.
Yeah, I just looked and I saw Stanton, Donaldson are expected to be activated in time for that series against LA. And Jamie, I think there's another injured player that's going to be activated too, right?
Yeah, it's Rizzo.
Rizzo, that's right. Okay. So yeah, it sounds like the Yankees are going to have their full complement of players out there.
Yeah, they will. They will. But I mean, it's also hard because they got all those prospects that were playing too. They got a really good as well too that they were playing.
Yeah.
So.
Mark, speaking of prospects, are you interested in seeing any come up?
What?
I'm really interested still in seeing the growth of some of the guys that we've got. Vinny Pasquantino's got 9 home runs. He's hitting 267. Nick Prado is at 295 since he came up. And the good thing about those guys, like Pasquantino, he's walked 23 times and only struck out 30 times in 237 plate appearances, which is not normal for a 25-year-old player. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing with Prado. He's walked 15, struck out 40 in 123 plate appearances, which is not great, but he's also only 24 years old. And then, you've got Bobby Witt. He's struggled with the bat. He's only hitting 228, but he's got 17 stolen bases, 10 home runs, and he's only 23 years old. Edward Olivares is only 27. He's batting, 232, but he's shown some pop. MJ Melendez, his average hasn't come up yet this year. He's only at 205, but he's also only 24 years old, and they've basically made him an outfielder now. They're not having him catch anymore to relieve Salvador Perez. They brought up Freddie Fermin to do that. So they're committed to having Melendez in the outfield, and they're committed to having Prado and Pasquantino kind of alternate first base and the DH spot. Prado's also been playing some outfield. Really, the only guy with some age on that team, like I said earlier, is Jackie Bradley Jr., and he's kind of been the fourth outfielder filling in wherever he can. So I'm really excited to see some of the hitters as they continue to grow over the next few years. But then you look at the pitching staff. Greinke's 39. I don't know who thought Jordan Lyles was a good idea, but he's 0-9 with a 7.30 ERA.
Jeez, that's awful.
He's eating innings, but he's been awful doing it. Brady Singer has regressed. He's got an ERA over 7, but he's 3-4. Brad Keller, he's at 4. Brad Keller's at 4.36. He's 3-4, but he just went on the injured list again. So, Scott Barlow, he's had his ups and downs as the closer. Aroldis Chapman, he's had his ups and downs as well as the 8th inning guy. And they've actually gone to several times they've had an opener instead of the starter, which Matt Quintero picked up when he was with the Devil Rays. The Rays. But they've had an opener, and the other day they had the opener, I believe it was Josh Stallmont. He pitched the first inning, and then Mike Mayers came in and he pitched another 6 perfect innings. So between those two guys, they had a perfect game going into the 8th inning, and then Myers gave up a couple of hits, but they ended up with a 7-0 shutout of the Cardinals.
Do you guys like having that play starter?
No. It goes against everything that I grew up with.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I don't like it.
Don't like it.
Yeah, it goes back to the Brewers, and wasn't it the Brewers in the playoffs that started doing that? Craig Counsell did that with somebody. And
yeah, they did. The Tampa Rays did that even a couple of years before. I think they started doing it regular season games, and then they started doing it, like Counsell did.
Yeah, I think, the Royals only have 4 starters that have had at least 9 starts, and then the rest have been kind of the off and on the opener concept, and I'm just not a fan. You can't get into a rhythm with that. It's tough on the guy that's coming in next knows that he's coming in, but he doesn't know how far he's going to go either, and to me it confuses the whole process.
Mm-hmm.
Are you Mike Moustakas? Is this it?
They're saying that this weekend when he comes in with the Rockies, he's probably going to this will be his last series in Kansas City. So I'm sure he's going to get a great reception when he's there because he was hugely popular when he was with the Royals. I still love Moose myself. He is one of my favorite players of all time, even though, he was good. He wasn't great, but he had that run in 2014 and 2015 with those World Series teams, and that will always live with Royals fans. We'll always remember that. We'll remember Moose and Hosmer and Perez and, Yordano Ventura, some of those guys. A lot of those, Alex Gordon. I'm actually wearing my Alex Gordon shirt today. But those guys were there for the best of times. And that will always live in Royals fans' hearts because we have had so much struggle. Between 85 and 2015, there was very few winning seasons. And now from 2015 through now, I don't know, can I say shit show on here? But
sure.
Say whatever you want on my show. I don't.
That's what it's been, and especially this year. I talked to you before the season, Adam, and I kind of had high hopes that they would get some of their hitters together. But this season, it seems like every time the hitters are doing well, the pitchers suck. And anytime the pitchers have a good game, the hitters can't get the ball out of the infield. And I'm glad that we finally released Hunter Dozier. And, we appreciate Hunter. He had a couple of good seasons, one good season that actually got him paid. But every time he came up there, if he had 2 strikes on him, you knew he was going to swing and miss at a slider low and away. And you can't do that at this level and be successful. And with some of the guys that the Royals have got coming up, you can't have a guy sitting there taking at bats doing that. You've got to give those guys a chance and let them play every day so that they can figure out what they're doing. And you can figure out if they're going to be able to do it.
Are they really building this new field, Mark, underneath I-670?
There's been a lot of talk about where it's going to go and how it's going to be financed and if they're going to be able to do it. To me, it's going to be tough in Kansas City to get that passed through because the team has been so bad. If the team was successful and doing well, it would be a lot easier to pass a referendum like that and get a new stadium built. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to Kauffman Stadium, but it is a beautiful park. It always has been. They renovated it.
It's on my bucket list. I mean, they're all on my bucket list, but I have not been to Kauffman Stadium.
Yeah, it is gorgeous. Every seat in the stadium faces home plate. You've got the fountains in the outfield. You've got activities around the outside. You've got the Royals Hall of Fame. It's a gorgeous park. And like I said, they renovated it in 2012, right before they had the All-Star game there. And, it's going to be tough to get that passed through. They would like to go downtown, but I kind of like it out where it's at because it's right next to Arrowhead. They share the parking lot. So it makes it a lot easier that way. You've got the parking. But then again, if you're downtown, you can do something like what they did in Denver with Coors Field. And the area where Coors Field is now was a horrible part of Denver for a long time, the lower downtown area. But once they put Coors Field in there, they started getting some of the shops and some of the bars and, some of the niche businesses that go along with the baseball team. And they renovated the 18th Street Mall there in Denver. And Coors Field is another one. It's a beautiful park. And it's surprising that that's getting as old as it is. It was built in 1995. But that one was kind of modeled after Kauffman Stadium because they've got the fountains in the outfield. And there's a lot of similarities between the two. So I can see the benefits both ways. It's going to be it'd be a struggle to get it through the voters in Kansas City.
Well, they're talking about moving Acrisure Stadium to Cranberry, which would move it outside of Pittsburgh.
Really?
Yeah, they're talking about building it up in by the Lemieux complex, which would take them out of Pittsburgh for the first time ever.
I don't know how Pittsburgh could have a stadium that's not by the river.
Heinz Field, Acrisure Stadium, it's almost 30 years old.
Yeah.
And that's about all the older these stadiums they let them get anymore.
Well, like I said, Kauffman Stadium was renovated in 2012, but it was built in 1973. So it's 50 years old, and Arrowhead was built at the same time. Mm-hmm. They used to play at Municipal Stadium that was more downtown.
I mean, Jamie's gone through 2 stadiums in his lifetime being a Yankees fan.
Mm-hmm.
I have, and I'm about to go through a new Bills stadium, which is going to be really cool in 2026 when that opens.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine Joe will be going too, right?
I certainly will.
They're both Bills fans, guys. Just like you guys are both Packers fans.
Yep.
You guys went through a $700 million renovation with Lambeau, and I heard it looks kind of nice now. It's got hotels and everything near it. So
Yeah, the whole what are they calling it? Is it the Lambeau district or?
It's I think they called it
the district right there.
Yeah, I think they called it like Titletown or something, didn't they?
Yeah, that's it, Titletown.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah, who knows, next
you're
time we're gonna
welcome,
see
by the
one
way,
with
for that
Jordan Love,
renovation.
right?
I helped pay for it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well,
Green Bay
listen, guys,
Packers fans.
I gotta head out here. So
That's why I let you go first, Joe. I knew 10:15 was close, and
yes, I appreciate it. And it's always great talking sports with you guys. I always enjoy it very much.
Good talking with you, Joe.
Yeah,
I
you
just
too,
we'll catch up. Enjoy golfing Friday, by the way.
Yes, thank you. It's going to be about 88
I might
degrees.
be going Sunday. Someone actually called me and said, "Hey, let's go golfing Sunday." So I might go Sunday. Haven't touched the clubs all year. I might want to swing a couple out back, but
Yep. No, I got the net in the backyard practicing, so I'm ready to go. So I need to get out on the course for real here. So I'm looking forward to it.
Sweet.
Joe, you and Jamie gonna do a Buffalo show soon?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. So we'll
Sweet.
hopefully get that underway and get the details going. That'll be fun.
All
thank
right,
you,
Joe.
Joe.
Have a
Appreciate
good one.
it. Get that
Thank
going.
Get
you
school
again.
over with so we can talk more.
Mhm.
Definitely. We'll talk to you soon. And again, you guys
All
have a
right,
great
buddy.
night.
You
All
too,
right.
Joe.
Good talking to you, Joe.
Yeah.
Well, I think your stadium and Heinz Field are the two stadiums only talking about getting rebuilt, right?
You're talking about my stadium, right?
Yeah, you've gone. I've been to both yours.
Yeah, you're talking about Highmark, right?
Oh, the Bills. Yeah, the Bills are getting a new stadium too, huh?
Yeah, we renovated ours.
They're not going with a roof though. They're not going to get a Super Bowl. I think it's dumb.
Actually, we're Pagulas are actually they're trying to find a way to get around it now. They say they want to host a Super Bowl without the roof. They're billionaires. They know how to find a way to get around it and try to host a Super Bowl.
You can't have a Super Bowl in Buffalo in February.
They did at MetLife, the Jets.
Yeah, that's never happening again. They admitted that. That was luck.
That was cold and miserable that day too.
That was
It's no fun. It's no fun for the fans being that miserable. I mean, even when the Packers played the Steelers in Dallas, there was ice on the stadium. Remember how cold it was, guys, in Dallas that week?
Yep,
That
absolutely.
has a roof though, and they were able to put a roof over it.
Oh yeah, but I mean, outside it was miserable. I mean, it was in the 30s in Dallas that week.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Part of the draw of the Super Bowl is not the game itself, it's the week of the game, so they can get fans involved in a lot of the activities that are set up in and around the stadium. So if it's constantly negative 20, if it's negative 20 degrees out there all Super Bowl week, fans aren't going to want to get out there and watch icicles form at the bottom of their nose just to go out there and do football activities. So yeah, it's a very good point. You got to have it in either have a dome stadium in a cold weather climate or have it in a fair climate area with an open dome stadium. So either or, you can't have it both ways.
Right.
I mean, I wasn't ready to hear snow in Dallas that week. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought that was awkward.
I get it. I totally get it.
But I mean, if you're building a new stadium, why not put a roof on it and try and get a Super Bowl?
Right. I'm just happy we're getting $1 billion stadium. They said it could. I just remember when I was in 5th grade, and they always told me the Bills could never be anything, and $1 billion stadium could never be done. And here we are, though. We're getting $1 billion stadium. I'm just happy we're getting one.
Could you see Lambeau with a roof over its head?
No.
They never did it. They just got the $700,000 renovation. That was it.
No, I mean that's
part of
asking.
Or the $700 million, not
Go ahead,
700,000.
Jason.
My bad. I mean,
Yeah, I was just going to say a dome over Lambeau Field. That's asinine. That's like putting a dome over Wrigley Field. That's just no. The part of the allure of that stadium is being an open air stadium in the cold elements. I mean, You put a dome over Lambeau Field. Oh my God! The shareholders, aka the owners of the Green Bay Packers, are going to pitch a cheese-sized conniption fit.
It's the same thing with Buffalo. We want when visiting teams come into the stadium, we want that cold in the playoffs. We want that snow piling down so it makes it hard for the visiting team to come in. We want it cold and snowy. It's the same thing. It's no different than Green Bay. Just like you guys want the elements, Buffalo wants the elements too. It's the same exact thing.
I think one of the best things that happened to the Packers is when the Vikings moved into a dome.
Yep.
Because they used to have the same thing when they were playing in the Met over in Minneapolis, and
right,
you would get some nasty cold games there too. But now the Vikings have a dome. The Lions have a dome. The Bears are probably going to get a dome when they build their new stadium.
So we'll be the only ones left. Didn't they just do all them renovations like 6 years ago
in Chicago?
No, they're messed up. They're just talking about doing a dome now, but nothing's going on.
They bought property out in Arlington, Illinois, where they're going to build their new stadium.
Yeah, that's an interesting situation. I hope that process moves forward because I want to see that. It looks freaking amazing.
Yep.
Well, Jamie, Jason, what are you two looking forward to in this rivalry? Not even really a rivalry, is it?
Well, it's its own unique rivalry because
back in the 70s when they were battling for the World Series, it was.
Yeah, it's 77 and 78. The Yankees won consecutive against the Dodgers in the World Series. The Dodgers came back and got their revenge in 81, but Jamie, it goes even way back to when the Dodgers were still in the borough of Brooklyn. And, both of those clubs were constantly fighting out a tooth and nail there. And one of the big talks way back then was who was the better center fielder, Mickey Mantle or Duke Snider, or even Willie Mays of the New York Giants. So it's its rivalry, but its own unique rivalry. They don't play as often as Dodgers Giants do, but there's still that history there. There's still all the great players there that have worn both uniforms. And the Dodgers and the Yankees also are two of the most popular and marketable franchises in all of professional sports. There you go. There's Mickey Mantle, number 7 right there. Adam, I'm surprised, man.
It's got to be Mantle.
Or don't forget Jackie Robinson, obviously.
Yeah. But, the thing
I don't know who to get in my Dodgers. I got to get a Dodgers jersey.
If you're going to get a Dodgers.
I also got Nolan Ryan right behind me, too. I didn't realize Ryan was behind me.
Very nice.
Oh, so you do. Very nice. But I was actually looking forward to Julio Urias pitching in this series, but Julio is still going to be on the injured list for at least another week, maybe a week and a half, so we can count that out. I guess I'm looking forward to Kershaw. I think Kershaw is going to pitch in this series, so I'm looking forward to him going up against Aaron Judge. That's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be a good series. Both clubs have their strengths. Both clubs have their weaknesses. And the Dodgers rookies are, Miguel Vargas is starting to play better. James Outman has started the slump, but he'll pick it up eventually.
I saw that. I didn't like that in my fantasy lineup, Jay.
Yeah, you're better off benching Outman for now. Vargas has kind of hit a little bit of a plateau where he's leveled out, but it's still, I think it's going to be a fun series. And I just wait, what's Jenny saying here? What's she saying?
Yeah, Bobby Miller.
Oh, Bobby Miller. Thank you, Jenny. I forgot. Shame on me. Bobby Miller is going to pitch in that series. And let me tell you, for a rookie pitcher who's only made 2 stars at the major league level, wow, he's already made a big impression on all of us.
I think she was telling you to get his jersey, Adam.
Bobby Miller jersey.
Oh, was she? Okay. There you go, Jenny. That's a good one. I'm
assuming because it says get a Bobby Miller one. Go ahead, Mark. You were saying?
I was just saying the same thing. I thought that's what she was going for.
You definitely don't want to get a Noah Syndergaard jersey, that's for sure.
Oh, he's doing awesome, ain't he?
Well, if you count an ERA above 8 and more hits than strikeouts, more walks than innings pitched, yeah, sure, he's done great. No problem.
Go
Mark, I think I would go with Bo Jackson on your jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a couple of Bo Jacksons. I've got
see, I can't have the
couple of
same
George
jersey as one of
Bretts.
my main guests here.
Mhm.
You
But I'm
say
going up
George
against
Brett?
the Royals. There's not much. There's not much
Yeah.
to choose from here.
Bo Jackson and George Brett is probably your best choices for Royals uniforms. I've got the powder blue Bo Jackson and a white George Brett.
All right. So
Doesn't
I gotta
have
go.
pine tar all over it, does it?
And I've got this one with Alex Gordon.
That's just the T-shirt, there, right? That's not a jersey.
Yeah, it's not a jersey.
That
Your
seems to be the
George, your
thing
George
nowadays.
Brett
Everyone
one's
gives.
pine tar free, right, Mark?
Correct.
I was getting, because of the pine tar thing against the Yankees.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Right.
Jay, do you buy jerseys still, or do you just do the T-shirt thing like Mark's doing?
No, I do buy jerseys. I have a whole bunch of them. I have the Dodgers jerseys I have are they're actually all players that aren't even on the team anymore. Mike Piazza, Corey Seager, Justin Turner. I also have a Dustin Pedroia Red Sox jersey because Petey was my favorite player on the Red Sox. So, yeah, I have a whole bunch of jerseys.
I have 2 Red Sox jerseys.
Nice.
One's out here.
Nice.
Roger
Oh,
Clemens.
the Rocket. Okay.
You got the Rocket and you got
Ted Williams.
Ted Williams.
Gotta get Teddy baseball, right?
And you got the Rocket before he went to the Yankees.
I think you should go old school on the Dodgers and get yourself a Steve Garvey.
No, if you want to go real old school with the Dodgers, get the guy who hit the home run in Game 1 of the '88 World Series when he had he broke 2 of his knees.
Kurt Gibson.
Kurt Gibson, yeah. Vin Scully, she is gone.
I might have been the best.
I have the
R.I.P. Vin Scully.
Whoa.
So there's Piazza right there.
Nice.
Who I have mad respect for. What he did on post 9/11 to hit that walk-off home run was great to the Mets. That got me emotional every time I see it.
Adam, you could go with the Roger Clemens and the Mike Piazza and just have them throw stuff at each other.
I got the wrong
Good
Clemens
one.
now.
You got the wrong Clemens, though, yeah.
I need the
love the
pinstripe. No, he had the gray jersey. That was the gray jersey day, right? I don't think he was in pinstripes that day. I think he was just in gray,
Yeah,
right?
I think you're right, yeah.
The Rocket, Roger Clemens.
That was great. So Jay, these Dodgers of yours are on fire until they lost today.
Yeah.
But they've been hot. Their bats are getting hot right now.
Yeah, their bats are getting hot. It feels like Mookie Betts is finally starting to come out of his little beginning of the season slump there. Freddie Freeman is a machine. That's all I got to say about Freddie is he's a machine. This guy is
Freddie Freeman Dodgers jersey. I could do that.
Yeah, I think you should. I think you should. But, I mentioned the rookies a few minutes ago, James Outman and Miguel Vargas. So far, they've had their issues here and there, but by and large, they've had a good start to the season so far. And, Bobby Miller, again, coming up and making those 2 starts the way he did. The stat lines don't look fantastic, but when you look at the makeup of this kid, when you look at the poise out there on the mound, he reminds me actually of a Roger Clemens on the mound just from his overall demeanor and the way he goes out there and just carries himself. And so they're playing really well right now. The thing I like the most about him, Adam, is that even though they're still hitting a lot of home runs, they're finding other ways to score runs. I think they still lead the major leagues in hits with 2 outs. And they still have one of the best batting averages with runners in scoring position in 2 outs. So they're finding ways to manufacture runs other than the home run ball. So I don't know how long they can keep it up. I'm sure they're going to hit that patch in the road where they lose 10 of 12 or 13 of 15. But right now they are very fun to watch. And also they come back. They're never out of games. They find ways to stay in the game. And that's the most important thing that I like about them.
And Jenny,
And-
did you throw the stat across the board?
Oh yeah, Bobby Miller pitching on Sunday. Yep. Yeah, I'll be looking forward to that.
Hey,
That's
rookie,
gonna be-
you're facing the Yankees. Let's go.
Oh, and did we mention you're also going to be on Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN? That's all.
I love Sunday Night Baseball. I got a real dilemma in my hands. I got to figure out if I'm going to watch the real cast or do I go to the Michael K cast because the Yankees are on. I got to figure that out.
I haven't watched Sunday Night Baseball since John Miller and Joe Morgan were in the same broadcast booth together.
Man,
After
were
those,
those the days, Sunday Night Baseball, John Miller and Joe Morgan.
yep, yeah.
Do, 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 do.
Yep.
Mhm.
So yeah, they've been playing real well, and wish I could go down there for the game this weekend. I have some other family stuff going on at the last minute, but I'll be watching though and listening too.
The Yankees, I feel like, have been coming in hot too. They've done well against Seattle, and like this is where I feel like they're starting to get in a winning streak. But this West Coast trip where they played Seattle and where they played the Dodgers, this is where I feel like they now need to. This is where I feel like they got to prove if they belong now. This West Coast trip with Seattle and the Dodgers now, Yankees.
Well, like we mentioned, Jamie, they also get Stanton. Looks like they're getting Stanton back and Donaldson.
Great
I
lineup.
read a thing,
coming
like I
back.
said earlier, though. I read a thing where are they going to fit in with the way this team's playing right now?
Right.
Like maybe they'll just keep.
They
them
just
down.
need
Like,
Stanton and maybe Rizzo, I think. But Stanton's the key. If he comes back, he's their next big home run hitter next to Judge. You
Mark,
just
any
need
thoughts
Judge
on
and
the
Stan.
Yankees?
You just need Judge and Stan. It was like Vlad Guerrero Sr. and Torrey Hunter. They were back with the Angels. They were your two big Power City guys.
My team's never had that. We had George Brett and Steve Balboni. That was our biggest two power guys together.
Oh, bye Balboni. I remember bye.
Oh yeah, I loved him.
Yeah, but don't make fun
Bones.
of George Brett. Made the Hall of Fame. I wouldn't make fun of George Brett, dude.
I have never made fun of George Brett in my life, and I never will.
Oh.
Mark's been a fan
he's my
since the
hero.
Royals, I think, 76.
76,
Yeah.
yes.
See,
Well-
Mark, I pay attention. I pay attention whenever you
Yeah,
talk
you do.
sometimes.
I appreciate you, buddy.
Hey, Mark,
Jam.
was Whitey Herzog still manager of the Royals in '76, or was that somebody else?
Whitey was the manager up until 79,
Okay.
and then
Okay.
then they let him go and brought in Jim Fry, and
Okay.
he took him to the '80 World Series, and then got fired partway through '81, and then Dick Hauser came in after that.
Dick Hauser. Okay. That's
Yeah.
where I was leading to. All right. Thanks.
Jay, I know. I just read your text. Said you got to go soon. I do want to have you guys back on, and we're going to talk Green Bay because there's a lot of interesting shit going on up there.
Yeah.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah. Absolutely.
I'm going to see if we can get Brandon to come on, and we'll get a show going.
Right on.
I'm
Sounds good.
curious to see if Love and Watson are going to continue what they did in that one game, or is there
Yeah.
going to be a lot of
Against
miscues?
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jay, I've got a Dodger stat for you before you go.
Yeah. Go for it.
I figured out what they need to work on.
Left-handed
Go for it.
batting, left-handed pitching.
No, not even that. It's even simpler. I was looking at the Royals, and I was surprised that they had only had 4 sacrifice bunts all season. The
Mhm.
Dodgers have none. Even
Wow.
for this day and age, that surprised me that they have 0.
Right. And I mean, that's historically ironic because the Dodgers as a franchise, they were known for doing a lot of the small ball stuff like sacrifice bunts, hit and runs. The Dodgers of the 70s,
Right.
you know, Dave Lopes,
Yeah.
Ron Say, Steve, they made
Bill Russell.
sacrificing and bunting an art form, you know. So that's
Yeah.
shocking, Mark. I did not know that. It's a good thing I'm sitting down because if I wasn't, I would have fallen over and probably broken my neck.
And it's the way the game is. It's the
Yeah, it is.
all or nothing.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is.
Jamie, were you going to say something?
I was gonna say that's how the Yankees ended their losing streak last Saturday. I think it was against I think it was Baltimore or whoever they played. They actually Harrison Bader did a sacrifice bunt, and then which led him over to third base, and then IKF won on a single the next play. So I'm glad you mentioned sacrifice bunting because the Yankees do have a tendency to do it, but only in extra innings when they need.
They've only got 2.
But they did it at crucial times in the extra innings when they needed to win the game.
Yep. Glad we're entertaining you, Jenny.
All right, guys. What's that, Mark?
So I'm glad we're entertaining Jenny.
Sure are. Anyway, and she, I guess we'll close on this note. How about that?
There you go.
Yeah, that'll work. Great point, Mark. Thanks, Jenny.
Jenny, you rock. You're awesome.
Yeah,
we're here for you.
You may
All
be a
right.
Giants fan, but you're number 1 in my book, Jenny. Number 1.
She's also a Niners fan, guys.
Sorry we beat you on opening day, Jenny, as a Yankee fan, but you're still great.
Anyway, Jay, how people
right,
get
guys.
you?
Okay, well,
Hold on, Mark.
unfortunately,
We're gonna
like
close out
Adam,
with how
I don't
people
have
get
my
you.
own
Hold on.
podcast. So if you guys follow me right here, Dodger Jason on Twitter, that's my Twitter handle. Please feel free to go on there and scave me, lambaste me, tell me I'm an idiot from all my tweets as much as you want. I don't care. That's how you can follow me on Twitter at Dodger Jason.
Mark?
I am not on Twitter anymore. If you want to get a hold of me, get in touch with Adam. He knows how to find me, and I'm sure he'll pass your information along to me. And if you got a
I was
question
wondering
or
why I
need
couldn't
anything
tag
from me,
you in something yesterday, Mark. I did not know you got off Twitter again.
yeah, there's just too much garbage. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, why ain't Nebraska Packer here? What the fuck?
Yeah, I took off again, but
I thought I was
anybody
typing it
needs to get a
wrong,
hold of you.
spelling it wrong. I'm like, what the fuck, Mark?
I didn't know I was on the Pat McAfee show, but okay.
So, Mark, Jamie, it was a pleasure being on the show with you guys tonight, especially Mark, catching up with you. It's been a while. Let's do it again sometime.
Absolutely. Good to see you,
We're gonna do
Jason. We'll
Green
talk
Bay
soon.
next, boys. Is that all
May the
right?
best team win this weekend, buddy.
May the best team win, Jamie. Look, I love my Dodgers, but you're absolutely right. May the best team win.
And I love my Yankees too, but may
All
the
right.
best team win.
There you go.
I
Adam,
showed the love back. See ya.
Adam, thanks again. It's always a pleasure. God bless, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side.
You
All
got
right,
it.
Jay. Have a good one, buddy. Jamie,
Okay,
how
you
people
too.
get you?
Jason, nice meeting you.
Oh, yeah. Again, on Twitter, Dodger Jason. Okay, see you guys later.
All right, Jay. Have a good one, buddy.
You too.
James, how people get you?
Okay, so the reason why I didn't say it before is here's my handle right here, which I had in my handle right here thing.
Mark, it's just for you real quick.
I'll look that up while he's
All
getting
right.
his stuff done there.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, James.
So my little description handle down here is my Twitter handle. This is actually, I have 2 Twitter accounts now. This is my original Twitter account where you can follow me. My first one is Jamie Malloy at DJ Dog Tags. On that account is where I've been continue to grow my following, where I do my podcasts on anything on these sports with baseball, the USFL, XFL, spring football, any other basic sport. And I've been growing my followers there, so you can follow me on Jamie Malloy at DJ Dog Tags. I'm constantly growing my followers there, so please follow me on that account. And I just also have recently just got a second Twitter account. And if you look at here, my second Twitter account here, it's called Bills Chat 1 at yahoo.com at Bills Mafia Chat. So I just started this Twitter account, and this Twitter account is basically Buffalo only chat, which is basically I'm going to be doing a podcast show with another podcaster on this channel. His name's Joe, where he's a Mets and Bills fan. So on that channel, it's going to be podcast stuff related to Buffalo only content, like Bills, Sabres, Rochester Amherst, Blue Jays, Buffalo Bisons, and anything related to Buffalo. So please go follow that channel called Bills Chat1 Yahoo.com at or Bills Chat 1 Yahoo.com at Buffalo Bills Chat Mafia. And if you could please follow that chat, where I just started getting followers on that, and I want to keep growing followers on that chat too. As I want to do a podcast on that channel that would help me grow followers on that, as well as my original channel, Jamie Malloy at DJ Doug, because that would be great for both brands of the channel and for my personal brand and that brand as well. So thank you very much.
All righty, James. Waiting to see you and Joe do the Buffalo show. Anyway, I am at Sports Talking It at Driving to the Top, on oh my gosh, I almost said Yahoo. On YouTube, on Twitter as well. And everybody have a good night. You guys want to sit around for a minute?
I've got Jenny's number before we go.
Oh, yeah. Jenny, here's your stats real quick.
The Giants have 5 sacrifice bunts. So they're
5
the leaders
sacrifice bunts, Jamie. Or Jenny. Jesus, I said Jenny.
Jenny.
All right, guys. If you're going to stick around for a little bit, we'll hang out afterwards.
All right.